Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, December 5th Board of County Commission meeting. We do begin our meetings with an invocation, and today we are honored and blessed to have Shinoa Flick, who is a proud mother of a native family of 4 children and 9 grandchildren living here in Colorado Springs. And one of those 4 is our very own Micah Flick, who gave his life in the line of duty as an El Paso County deputy. So honored to have her with us today. If you would like to join us, please do.
It's my honor to be here and to pray for you, our commissioners, and to pray for our city. Father, we love you and honor you, and we welcome your Holy Spirit into this room, and we welcome your Holy Spirit into our city. And Father, I thank you for these commissioners who serve the city and that come and look to do the very best that we can do for our city and all the things, all the little details that are involved. And I pray for each one. I pray for their families. I pray for their health. I pray for their businesses. Lord, I just thank you that they are blessed and they're going out, they're blessed and they're coming in, and that your face shines brightly upon them and that you give them peace. And Father, we thank you for this opportunity to pray over our city. And Lord, every area of our city, every mountain of influence in our government and our education system, and Lord, just the list goes on. But we welcome your presence here. We thank you that in each area of influence and power in our city, that we will see truth and justice and righteousness rule and reign. And we thank you now, Lord, for you taught us to pray, and we're going to pray the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for starting us off and for being here on this lovely morning. We normally would do the pledge at this time, but we have a special guest that we are still awaiting. So I think we will do a little up and down, and at this point move on down the agenda. And when our honored guest gets here for the pledge, we will do it at that time. Please be seated. Thank you. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item number 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm unaware of any changes or postponements to today's agenda, and the next meeting will be December 12th at 9:00 a.m.
Item number 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar, consisting of items 5A through 5D1.
Is there anyone up here who would like to bring up any of these items or move approval? A motion?
Move approval of the consent calendar.
And I'll second.
Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak on any item on the consent calendar? Hearing none in the audience and none online. Okay, that has been moved and seconded. Any other comments? I will call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. And I'd very much like for our honoree to be able to do the pledge before we move on to the next item. Commissioner Geithner, she's a guest of yours. Do you have any recommendations?
I agree. That would be ideal. Maybe we could take a brief recess and find out what the situation is. Because we expected her here by this point. If you want to give me a couple minutes to do that.
I think that given the fact that you also have the next item number, let's do that. We'll do a brief recess. Apologies. Good morning. I will call this meeting of the Board of County Commissioners back to order. And today we have Ms. Sparrow Kilgore, who would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was beautiful. Thank you. And I think
Thank you.
Commissioner Geithner has a certificate for you and maybe a few words.
I do. Thank you so much, Sparrow, for joining us this morning. That was a real treat for us to have you lead us in the pledge. I have a certificate of appreciation with your name on it. I'm going to bring it over to you. And then if you guys can hang out for just a few minutes, we're going to move forward to a different item, but then we'll be available to do some photos if you'd like to take a photo with us, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience and taking things a bit out of order. That brings us now to item number 6.
Item number 6 is the proclamation recognizing Pearl Harbor Day. Carrie Geithner, Vice Chair, Board of County Commissioners.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move approval of a proclamation recognizing Pearl Harbor Day. Whereas on December 7th, 1941, the Empire of Japan suddenly and viciously attacked the Pacific Fleet of the United States of America while at Pearl Harbor in the United States territory of Hawaii. And whereas this surprise attack resulted in more than 2,350 deaths, 1,178 wounded, and brought devastation to the United States Pacific Fleet and its air forces. And whereas on this day, several American naval ships were lost, including the USS Arizona, which to this day is in the final resting place of the 1,102 brave sailors and Marines entombed therein. And whereas December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, brought the United States out of isolation and into the Second World War to support the Allies, who had been fighting a bitter war with Europe for the 2 previous years. And whereas this sneak attack kindled the righteous fury of the United States of America, thus awakening the sleeping giant to become the arsenal of democracy for the cause of freedom. And whereas, let us extend our gratitude and love to the 407,316 American soldiers who paid the ultimate price and reminds us that their sacrifice was for a cause, not for conquest, for a world that would be safe for future generations. And whereas, through the untold measure paid in precious lives, the United States ultimately won the Titanic struggle and achieved the final victory. And whereas the number of military service personnel who served the vicious attack on that day is quickly declining as years pass. Now, therefore, the Board of El Paso County Commissioners hereby recognizes December 7th, 2023 as Pearl Harbor Day in El Paso County, Colorado, and urges all citizens to set aside time on that day to reflect on the bitter lessons learned, to honor the profound bravery of all those who served, and to pay special tribute to those who gave their last full measure of devotion on that fateful day 82 years ago. Done this 5th day of December 2023 at Colorado Springs, Colorado. Signed, Cami Brimmer, Chair, Carrie Geithner, Vice Chair, Lohunas Gonzalez Jr., Stan Vanderwerf, and Holly Williams, members, and attested to by Steve Schlager, County Clerk and Recorder.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. I understand that we have some members of the audience who would like to offer some comments today. If at this time you all would like to come forward, I will introduce you briefly, but feel free to introduce yourselves as well. I think representing the Chambers Military Advisory Council, you have Military Affairs Council, excuse me. We have Lysanne McNew, who's serving as the vice chair there. From Mount Carmel, we have Bob McLaughlin, and then from our own internal Veterans Affairs Office, we have Pete Carey, Head of Justice Services, and Marshall Bosworth, one of our VSOs, who is incredibly busy with lots of applications locally to serve our veterans. So thank you for being here today, and please introduce yourself and proceed.
All right, thank you. Well, good morning. My name is Lysanne McNew, and I'm the Vice Chair for the Military Affairs Council. In 2 days, on the solemn occasion of Pearl Harbor, we gathered to remember and honor the brave souls who faced the devastating surprise attack on December 7th, 1941. This day serves as the poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by our World War II veterans. The resilience and courage displayed by those who endured the horrors of war shaped the course of history. As we reflect on Pearl Harbor, let us also pay tribute to the countless men and women who served during World War II. Their selflessness and dedication secured the freedoms we cherish today. In honoring World War II veterans, we express gratitude for their unwavering commitment and preserving liberty. Their stories echo through time, reminding us to appreciate the peace they fought so valiantly to achieve. May we never forget their sacrifices, and may their legacy inspire future generations to strive for a more peaceful world. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. Mr. McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, council members. Commissioners, it's an honor to be here. Times like this remind us that freedom isn't free. We are the land of the free because of the brave. Today, we recognize the sacrifice of the fallen service members that made the ultimate sacrifice during Pearl Harbor on December 7th. We also honor the service of those that were there and survived and continued to serve in World War II. Heroes all that deserve our gratitude, respect, as do their families. Shortly after December 7th, President Roosevelt stated that it was a day that would live in infamy. He also said, "The American people in their righteous might will win through to victory." This call to action placed millions of the greatest generation in uniform to fight on two fronts in Europe and in the Pacific, and to win as predicted by Roosevelt. They all served as an example for future generations to follow in conflicts that exist today. As a proud veteran, I was personally influenced by the greatest generation, as many of us were. Don Stratton actually visited Mount Carmel before he passed. We all know that Don was a survivor of the Arizona. When he came to my place, he was proud, he was humble, and he loved his country. His fellow service members overcame extreme hardships under incredible conditions to preserve our precious freedom. The values that we embody in our military today, duty, loyalty, respect for others, selfless service, integrity, personal courage, were born from the greatest generation. President Kennedy said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." His words were born from his naval service in World War II with the hope that future generations would answer the call. I've observed through my service great Americans doing just that, doing challenging missions during harsh conditions all around the world. But the call to action to serve those who have served started in the 18th century with then General Washington. Washington stated, "The willingness with which young people are likely to serve in any war, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive that veterans in earlier wars were treated and appreciated by their nation." So today at the Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center and every day with our partners, we are proud to serve those who have served so that generations to come will continue to answer the call, which I am confident of. Moving forward, we will never forget the service and sacrifice on December 7th, and will always pay tribute to those who lost their lives and celebrate the service of those who have served and continue to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carey.
Good morning, honorable commissioners. Pete Carey, Executive Director of Justice Services. I just want to take a moment and thank you for taking the time today to recognize our veterans from Pearl Harbor and sacrifices they made. Last couple of years has been an eye-opener for me working with Marshall and what his crew does. I can't thank you enough for the support you commissioners have given Veteran Services in El Paso County. I heard this term years and years ago as a police officer, that El Paso County and Colorado Springs is a garrison community. Didn't even know what that meant until I started working with these men and women at Veteran Services. We do take care of ours, and we don't forget. So thank you very, very much. And Mr. Bosworth.
Good morning, commissioners. There's not a whole lot I have left to say after all the words that were already said today, which I totally agree with. But what I want to do is just say thank you for this proclamation and not forgetting our World War II vets. There's not a lot of them left, but we keep celebrating the sacrifices that they made, especially at Pearl Harbor. I was in Hawaii a year ago, so it's still close to home. So thank you very much. I appreciate the proclamations, always honoring our veterans and always supporting the veterans in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any others in the audience wishing to speak on this item? Anyone online? Okay, I'll bring it up here for comments. Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I can go first. So this was one of the greatest generations, those who served in World War II. At the same time, as I found out with my father, it was also one of the quietest generations about his service. My mom, on this day, it was one of the times when you remember where you are. And she remembers exactly where they were when they heard the news that Pearl Harbor had been bombed. And my grandmother, Brown, waited for days to hear whether her two sons were still alive after, I assume, the beaches of Normandy, but that might not be correct in her memory. But she waited for 4 to 5 days to find out whether her two boys were still alive. And, but, you know, most importantly, I think about my dad. Now, this is more in relation to the Korean War, where he gave up some very lifetime goals he had to come home and serve in the Korean War so that his brother did not have to go and serve. And so I have great respect for this generation and for the freedoms they brought us, for the freedoms that we enjoy. I think it's something that we have become quite used to enjoying these freedoms. We just don't understand what these men and women fought for after World War II. So thank you for this resolution.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. First off, my thanks for those that came to speak, and I'm honored, and I'm just pleased that we continue to honor Pearl Harbor Day with this proclamation. You know, it just seems amazing to me. Pearl Harbor seems to many of us like such ancient history, but I was born less than 20 years after Pearl Harbor, and my parents were almost teenagers at Pearl Harbor. And my father-in-law served in World War II, and there's many of us still alive today that served in World War II. I'm honored also to be a veteran and to have served in combat operations in Iraq. Like so many of my friends and acquaintances here in the Colorado Springs area, so many of us have continued to serve. And so this is an honor to do this, to honor those that died at Pearl Harbor, but really to honor everybody that has given the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. It is important to never forget. And I want to just share briefly a few things about Don Stratton, because in my very first campaign for county commissioner, I was knocking on doors like you're supposed to do, and ended up knocking on Don Stratton's door, and to my amazement found out that he was at Pearl Harbor during the attack and was one of the few survivors. He was an amazing man. He was burned on 60% of his body, served, continued in it for a year in a Navy convalescence hospital, and then was discharged. But he told the Navy, I don't want to be discharged. I want to keep serving. And the Navy refused that initially, until Don Stratton said, if I go through basic training a second time and make it, will you let me continue to serve? So that's what happened. He went through basic training again after what he went through, and made basic training a second time, was re-enlisted, and continued to serve throughout the rest of the war, serving in some of the most famous battles in the history of World War II, including the battle for Leyte Gulf. In addition to that, it was great for this community to honor Don Stratton, but really to honor all of our service members. The El Paso County has made June 8 El Paso County Don Stratton Day. We also were able to obtain a piece of the USS Arizona and build a museum exhibit around it to honor Don Stratton. And that museum exhibit is on public display today in the East Library. You should go and check it out. It talks about the history of World War II, and there's some personal artifacts of Don Stratton there. And then also, we had the opportunity to go to the state legislature and have a proclamation read to name the Fillmore Bridge the Don Stratton Bridge. Now, I had the honor and the privilege to be there when that proclamation was read by then House Representative Larry Liston. And Don Stratton was there with his family. He was in a wheelchair. And after the proclamation was read and the vote was taken, the vote, of course, was 100% unanimous in support of naming that bridge. And then the Senate had actually paused and come over to the House chambers, and all the members of the state Senate and House were at the proclamation reading, and they proceeded to give Mr. Don Stratton a 10-minute standing ovation. And to my amazement, being the kind of person that he was, sitting in a wheelchair, stood up and saluted the House and Senate. It was a special moment for all of us. But that's the kind of people we have in this country. It's really, really special. I'm just so glad we continue to do this proclamation, and I'm glad that we had an opportunity to honor Don Stratton, who lived among us for many, many years, in obscurity, really, until he was basically discovered. And my hat's off to those that have served and given the ultimate sacrifice, especially including those that lost their lives at Pearl Harbor. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm very pleased, honored to be able to put my name on this proclamation as well. Thank you for all those who have come out for this. As we remember, it's such a terrible day in history, but it showed the resilience and the strength of the United States and all those that served during the time of the greatest generation, as we know. And so remembering that day and then what came afterwards and the resurgence and strength of the American spirit to come forward and strong after that. And just so honored and pleased anytime I do see them. We go out, we do the Veterans Day, the Memorial Days, and less of the World War II generation out there. So if you do see them, please pay that respect that they deserved from their time of serving and sacrificing so much for our great country. Again, I'm honored to do this. As a veteran myself, I just love the great support that this county and the community provides to our veterans, and we see that with organizations like Mount Carmel, the chamber that's got a whole department, and then amongst the county with our VSOs. I'm very proud of the fact we have the most VSOs in the state. We have a large population here, and we continue to support them because they are deserving of our support. So I'm very pleased to continue to see that and see this every year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as is our tradition, I will let Commissioner Geithner finish up our comments. So I don't know that I could say it any better than the sobering and humbling words that I've heard from many people today. I do, it came across my mind as I'm taking all of this in and really just reflecting, which is what this proclamation is about. It's about reflecting on what this day meant in history. But one of the things that crossed my mind was, I think when President Roosevelt said that this is a day that will live in infamy, he probably meant it in a very different way than what it is now, because what it means to those that came after the greatest generation is being able to see what molded and shaped this nation, and to hear the stories of people like Mr. Stratton. And, a day that will live in infamy certainly has a battle reference connotation, but to me and future generations, and hopefully to my child, it means looking back on what has made this country resilient, the values that Mr. McLaughlin spoke about, and how it has really just shaped who we are, not only as a nation, but the example of the greatest generation that came out of that. And as we do see fewer and fewer of those of the greatest generation, I hope we can continue to learn, continue to reflect on the sacrifices that were made, but really the resilience and how they contributed infamously to show us now. So with that, I am also very honored that we can do this today, and I hope that long time after I am out of this seat, that this continues to be something that the County Commission continues to recognize. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to my fellow commissioners here. Oftentimes we have proclamations that are very near and dear to a lot of us. And so we have to, make the decision about who's going to have the honor of reading that. So thank you for allowing me to have this honor today. I appreciate that. It's been said very well by both our guest and the other commissioners. Not only, it's easy to say the word sacrifice, but when I think about what that really means, and I realize that so many of our young people today don't really understand what does that mean. As a military spouse, having a husband that was deployed, I know what that sacrifice was to my family, and yet we had things like Skype. The sacrifices, I think it's very hard for our youngest community members to truly understand what it would look like at this particular point in time for these folks who were separated from family for so long. We're only able to communicate by letter, and it's a very real thing that we have to continue to share over and over again if we are to make sure that all Americans, especially those younger Americans, continue to remember and understand what that word sacrifice meant in the context of this time period. And so while I am so grateful to be able to hear about Don Stratton and talk about the individuals who served, there's a very important piece of this, which is we can never let our American history be forgotten. There was a situation not too long ago in our community where a specific Revolutionary War flag was being displayed by a student locally, and a school tried to forbid that flag from being shared. And it reminded me at that time how important it is that we not allow our history to die, that we not allow the things of today to co-opt the importance of historical events in the past. We need to be able to continue to talk about them so that they're not forgotten. And so this, to me, is very important, not only to honor those specific individuals, but to continue to remind ourselves every day that history is lost if we don't continue to talk about it, if we don't continue to teach about it. And we have the honor of being able to do a little bit of that here today. So with that, I will turn it back over to our chair. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This proclamation has been moved and seconded. I will call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Thank you all for being here. We will take a brief recess for a photo. I will call this Board of County Commissioners meeting back to order, and we are on item number 7.
Item number 7 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports.
Do we have any countywide electeds here and none online? Okay, we'll begin with Commissioner Williams.
Yes, good morning. Thank you to my colleagues for covering last week. I was under the weather. We did have our Colorado Counties Incorporated meeting. It was very valuable. A lot of good discussions there. And so this week I have on my calendar, other than today, I may have the Statewide Transportation Advisory Committee on Thursday. I think that might be canceled in December. And then the Colorado Springs Block Grant, or the Community Service Block Grant Advisory Board on Friday. And that is it. And then I think I have something next Monday, which is the Commissioner Potluck Breakfast, where we're all very excited to honor our employees during the holiday season. We always enjoy doing that. So thank you very much. That's it.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So looking forward to later today at 4:30 going to the Olympic and Paralympic Family Roundup. I think that'll be a great event. And tomorrow I plan on going to the UC Health Caring for Our Community activity. That's, I think, at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Going to be, over the next several weeks, going to a ton of Christmas parties. I'm not going to mention all of those. But one of those is going to the Southeastern Colorado Water Conservancy District holiday lunch. That'll be Thursday at 11 o'clock. That'll be in Pueblo, actually. And then on Saturday, I think I'm going to be doing something really special. This is the day I've got scheduled for me to do a ride-along with the Deputy Sheriff's patrol vehicle, and this will be one of the Beacon units, the Behavioral Health Control units, and an opportunity to see how this works with having a clinically certified and licensed behavioral health clinician along with the deputy sheriff riding together in the same car, dealing with people that are having tough days and reacting to that sometimes in the difficult manners. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Also looking forward on Monday, on the 11th, to our Commissioner Potluck for our staff and members here in El Paso County. I've been, of course, going to that every year, and it's always a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that. Also in the evening on Monday the 11th, I'll be going to the Black Chamber of Commerce event that they have going on. Looking forward to that. And then we'll be to our next Board of County Commissioner meeting next Tuesday on the 12th. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So today I will also be attending the Sports Corps' Family Day reception over at the museum. Tomorrow I'll be attending my monthly, virtually, NACO Justice and Public Safety meeting, which I'm on one of their subcommittees. Thursday I'll be conducting, along with other commissioner and council members, library board interviews this week, and then attending also on Thursday the chambers, the Colorado Springs Chambers Legislative Roundtable, and then Saturday attending a Air Force Academy Christmas reception.
Busy days. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. So this week is a little lighter on public meetings, which means I have an opportunity to meet with a lot of constituents and have a lot more of those internal meetings to work on several projects that are happening here at the county. So I'm looking forward to that. I also do want to remind everyone that the Calhan Christmas Parade is coming up this weekend. That's going to be at 6 p.m. on the 9th. And I am looking forward to participating with that. It's always a really fun time to get out in the community and enjoy the lights. I also want to both thank all of the commissioners and just mention that I was able to represent this board at a concert on Sunday evening for Save the Storks, which is a organization that provides mobile services and clinic services for those facing unplanned pregnancies. It was an honor to be there and read some words that I know all of the commissioners were supportive of in terms of just thanking them for the work that they do for women in our community and quite frankly across the nation. So it was an honor to be there. It was a beautiful concert, and I'm grateful for the support of all of the commissioners on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Many of the meetings and things I have on my calendar have been mentioned, so I won't review all of those. Some that were not overlapped. I will be attending a tour and conversation with UC Health administrators and leaders locally about the upcoming legislative session, what it means for our community. And we, of course, here, as county government, we have a very clear lane, but there are often intersections of where we can affect things like public safety, behavioral health, our Department of Human Services, interactions with our local healthcare providers and systems. So looking forward to that conversation with new leadership locally at UC Health. And then a few other meetings and holiday receptions as well. Yesterday, I had Pikes Peak Workforce Center board meeting, and of course, I attended that with Commissioner Vanderwerf and a Teller County Commissioner. That continues to be an excellent working board that really has, I think, been a key part of recovery of our economy and of our workforce. Many businesses are still struggling throughout the state with employees and having those employees trained and with the skills needed. But that board and the work of the Pikes Peak Workforce Center continues to ensure that there's quite a good pipeline here locally that I think is pretty unprecedented in the state. They're doing great, innovative work. And then I will be attending a few events this weekend as well. I think there is a menorah lighting, a rally in support of Israel, and of course our, as has been mentioned, the potluck next week. I also wanted to, for those of you who follow the public meetings and the public meeting schedule, that of recurring meetings that occur on a second or a third week of the month, pay attention to the schedules as those have been adjusted, and things that normally would occur maybe on the third or fourth week of the month are occurring over the next 2 weeks in the second week. So one of those is Board of Health, and I think URA and several others have kind of moved around. So pay attention to those public calendars if you pay attention to recurring meetings, because many of them have been adjusted this month for the holiday. And then finally, I just wanted to say, you know, we couldn't make all the headway and groundwork that we do as a community without the help of our nonprofit community. Again, the county stays in our lane about what it is that we can provide service-wise, what our state statutes tell us the county is responsible for, and in many ways we can't do it all, and so we rely on the nonprofit community to do that. And so, a brief reminder that today is Colorado Gives Day, and should you choose to participate, look closely at what nonprofits are really impacting the lives of citizens in El Paso County, and I would just encourage you to keep that in your minds today, and realize that our nonprofit community also intersects closely with the government and what we can do, and depends on private donations as opposed to the public ones. So with that being said, any other elected official comments? Okay, item number 8.
Item number 8 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item number 9.
Item number 9 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. This is the public's opportunity to speak on an item not scheduled on today's agenda. And Madam Chair, I didn't see anyone sign in ahead of time.
Okay, no one signed in ahead of time. Do we have anyone wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda today? Okay, anyone online? Okay, Item number 10.
Item number 10 is the called up consent calendar, and there are no items called up.
Item 11.
Item number 11 is the second reading of County Ordinance 07-01 as amended, an ordinance prohibiting illicit discharges into the county storm sewer system. Kevin Maston, Executive Director, Department of Public Works, and Joshua Palmer, County Engineer, Department of Public Works.
Mr. Palmer.
Good morning. Josh Palmer, County Engineer. I apologize for my voice. So today is the second reading for the revisions to our MS4 ordinance. I'll briefly go over the redlined copy of the ordinance. I did make this is the exact same copy that was uploaded in part of your package, but I did include just a little highlighted summary of what each of the sections, what the revisions are and what we hope to accomplish. So section 4 of the MS4 ordinance, we made some updates to be consistent with our most current version of the MS4 permit and Colorado Regulation 61, which outlines discharge responsibilities. Most importantly of note, it updates saying discharges containing groundwater that comes into contact with construction activity are not considered uncontaminated. So just a little clarification and further defining uncontaminated discharges. There are some minor revisions to section 7 for criminal prosecution, and this is to be compliant with House Bill 21-271 about misdemeanor petty offenses, and it's just updating and clarifying some of the definitions, as you can see there, highlighted. And section 7.2 clarifies what is implied throughout criterion ordinances, that the county engineer, as well as the public works inspectors, have the authority to issue citations. And finally, revisions, updates to section 10, which is about the ability that county employees may have or not have to enter property, clarifying section 10.1 that we're not allowed without owner's permission to enter for the purpose of cleanup. And then a couple of minor clarifications to section 10.2, again, to be compliant with some of our legislation and updates to current laws. So very minor. There's a few other minor grammatical revisions, changes. I'm more than available to answer any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a good job getting this all together and everything. Just kind of a quick question. We do have some corrections in purple and blue and red, and what are the distinguishing features of those different colors?
That just depends on who was actually making the comment or providing the revisions. So it's just, we had multiple people working on this together, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. But the total number of changes in the document is the totality of all those different colored
Correct, yeah.
words. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. All right, thanks.
Commissioner Williams.
My only question is, this is the second reading, so we're moving for approval today?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I would move approval of this ordinance for prohibiting illicit discharges into the county storm sewer system.
And I'll second.
Okay, that has been moved and seconded, but I'm going to call for anybody in the audience who might want to comment on this item. Do we have any input? Okay, any online? Okay, any further discussion on this item from up here? Okay, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. And as it's the second reading, these revisions are now a part of, is it part of the engineering criteria manual, technically? Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, item number 12.
Item number 12 is the hearing on the application by Chipotle Mexican Grill, Inc., doing business as Chipotle Mexican Grill number 4612 for a beer and wine license on the premises located at 7565 Falcon Marketplace, El Paso County. Commissioner District 2, Jackie Allred, Clerk to the Board Manager. And Madam Chair, the applicant's attorney is attending via Teams, and then Eva with Liquor Pros is here to present on the neighborhood survey. The application does qualify for an abbreviated hearing, and at your discretion, I would turn that over to the county attorney.
Okay. This does qualify for an abbreviated hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could just ask the clerk to the board a couple of questions really quickly. Madam Clerk, has the applicant fulfilled all state and local requirements?
The applicant has fulfilled all state and local requirements.
Does the neighborhood survey support the needs and desires of the local community for the requested license?
The neighborhood survey was favorable and supports the needs and desires of the community.
Has any opposition been voiced against the issuance of the requested license?
No opposition has been received for the clerk's office to date.
Is there any party in interest at today's board hearing to formally oppose the issuance of the license?
I'm unaware of anyone in the audience to speak in opposition, but I would just ask if there's anyone present to please come forward at this time. I don't see any.
Thanks.
Hearing none.
All right. And has the sheriff's investigation revealed criminal history relevant to the issuance of a liquor license?
The applicant has an approved state master file with the Colorado Department of Revenue, and that revealed no criminal history relevant to the operation of the business.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I believe this matter does qualify for an abbreviated hearing.
And if I understand correctly, we need a motion to proceed with an abbreviated hearing, correct?
That's correct.
So moved.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye for an abbreviated hearing. We will proceed at this point.
Waiting to see if the attorney wants me to go first or not.
I am. Good morning, Brian Prophet, registration number 31101 on behalf of Chipotle Mexican Grill. I just want to confirm everyone can hear me. Is that correct?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. With me this morning, I actually have two witnesses, Mr. Nicholas Tosti. He's a field leader with Chipotle. He is also online with us. If you were to have any questions regarding our operations and training, however, with the abbreviated nature that you just voted on, at this time, I think we would call Ms. Eva Gerritsen with Liquor Pros to give testimony regarding the results of the needs and desires petitioning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the commissioners. For the record, my name is Eva Gerritsen, last name Garretson, one of the owners of Liquor Licensing Professionals doing business as Liquor Pros. So we conducted the needs and desires survey regarding the new beer and wine liquor license for Chipotle Mexican Grill 4612 located at 7565 Falcon Marketplace out in Falcon. This particular location is on the northwest corner, just right across from Walmart, if you're familiar with that area. Great location where it's at. We did samples in and around the boundary area to obtain signatures or feedback in order to present to the authority. We made attempted contact with 624 business owners, managers, and residents inside the area. We carry with us two packets, a business packet and a residential packet. With the business packets, we ask those folks to write in whether they are a business owner or manager to identify themselves as such. And then with the residential, we of course also carry a information sheet of Chipotle. That necessarily wasn't needed out in this area. Everybody very familiar with Chipotle. We're very excited about them coming out to this area because the next closest one is all the way back into Colorado Springs on Powers. So folks were really excited about having this in their area out there. We did the surveys on Sunday, November 19th and Monday, November 20th. Obtained a total of 180 signatures. This is one of the higher feedbacks that we've gotten in the state in the last few years. So very good results. 33 were from business owners and managers, 32 signing in favor at 97%, one opposed at at 3%. We then obtained a total of 147 residential signatures, 142 signing in favor at 97%, 2 opposed at 1%, and 3 with no opinion at 2%. If we combine these totals, we have 97% signing in favor, 2% opposed, and 2% with no opinion. If we remove those, no opinion, that actually puts us at 98% in favor with 174 signatures and 3 opposed. We do ask those folks to write in why they are in favor or opposed to this particular license in order to provide the authority with more information. If those folks do have a reason of opposition that they are concerned with, we do invite them to the public hearing so that they can voice that directly with the applicant or to the commissioners as well. So we do have that information on the front sheet of our packets, and we ask those folks if they do want to attend to take a picture of it. We also do let them know that the hearing is also posted on the premises, so that is available for them as well. With the vacant landowners that we just turned into Ms. Jackie Allred, we had 6 total returns. 5 said yes, and 1 was opposed to that. The 1 opposition didn't provide us with any reasons of opposition, so we just include those in, but it actually didn't change the percentage. We have 97% or 98% in favor with this particular license right now. Given the fact that there are other licenses of similar type, this still shows a positive need and desire for this license in that area as well. And I'd be more than happy to answer questions from the authority.
Are there any questions of the applicant at this time? Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Great survey, really wonderful numbers. But I do have a question, and maybe I'll be corrected if I misunderstand this, but I believe many Chipotles also sell margaritas.
Well, so they stopped that not too
They
long ago.
did.
It took too long to make them, and I think you'll hear that. I think that'll be confirmed by the attorney and the applicant, because it was taking too long to mix them in the back, and so they just went to the beer and wine license. Yeah.
Well,
But
that might be why this is only for beer and wine.
Yes, that is correct. Although there are a couple of applications we took up in Denver, there is a fermented malt beverage that you can make margaritas with now. So there's a couple of experimental things going on with that. So it could be a possibility in there as well.
Okay, well, that answers the question I had. I was just wondering if, you had the right application or not, but
Oh, yeah.
I stand corrected that I guess Chipotle is not into the margaritas so much anymore.
Not so much
thanks.
anymore. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. My apologies. You may have heard the cuckoo clock in the background striking 10 o'clock. And so, again, Brian Prophet on behalf of Chipotle. Everyone is most likely familiar with Chipotle. A couple of the important things, and I'll be brief given the abbreviated nature of this hearing. We are hoping to open this location a bit later this month. Mr. Nielsen, you are correct. Most Chipotle locations no longer carry the margaritas. It is a number of factors, including, as Ms. Gerritsen said, having to do with the time as well as the liquor nature of that, as well as the type of license necessary to carry those, required some managerial reporting and background investigations, at least at that time, that proved difficult for us, as oftentimes our managers might move from store to store, which is also one of the reasons the change was made just to the beer and wine license. But as I mentioned a moment ago, Mr. Nick Tosti is with us. He is a field leader who will have ultimate oversight of this restaurant. If you were to have any additional questions regarding our alcohol service policies and procedures, as well as training, we do have a short presentation, but I think I would forgo that for any additional questions you might have directly of us regarding our alcohol program.
Are there any further questions for the applicant at this time? Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the comments that were just made, because I do know how important it is to me and, to El Paso County when we issue these licenses, that the establishments that have those licenses do what they need to do to make sure that there's no service to minors. So that does mean, having proper training, making sure the employees have a strong understanding of that, and have effective procedures in place to prevent that. Beyond that, so long as those are, held firm, then I know that for myself, I have no objection to adults, who can properly consume alcoholic beverages to enjoy that at Chipotle or any other establishment that makes that request. So, but it is important to me, and I'm glad you made mention of it, to make sure that Chipotle or any other organization does abide by the state requirements to make sure minors don't, accidentally get served. So thank you.
Is there any further discussion or a motion?
Madam Chair, I would move approval of item 12. I would also just like to add on the comments, I appreciate the questions around making sure that we are, that there are proper procedures in place to make sure that we are protecting our minor community from being served, obviously as being underage and not being allowed to be served. I appreciate those questions. It is also clear from the results of the survey that the community is very supportive and I dare say excited to see this Chipotle open, and this is a part of the typical Chipotle model. I live very close to this location. I've also heard a lot of the excitement and the support for this establishment.
Okay, that was a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, that has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Congratulations to the applicant. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Item number 13.
Item number 13 is department and committee reports, non-action items, and there are none.
Item 14.
Item number 14 is the addendum, and there are no addendums today.
Okay. At this point, we will take a brief recess to move into our Public Improvement District meeting. Recessing the Board of County Commissioners meeting. Public Improvement District PID number 2 meeting. And I apologize to our clerk to the board. Do you need a little bit of time to transition?
No, I'm good.
Okay, excellent. Public Improvement District number 2 meeting. I'm calling to order at this time. Item number 1.
Item number 1 is a request to approve the Public Improvement District PID number 2, September 26th and October 3rd, 2023 minutes. Jackie Allred, clerk to the board.
Madam Chair, I'd move approval of item 1.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Item number 1 passes 5-0. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is a resolution approving a petition for inclusion of property within El Paso County Public Improvement District number 2, Copper Chase at Sterling Ranch. Lori Sego, Senior Assistant County Attorney.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is a petition to join PID number 2 for partial payment of the El Paso County Road Impact Fee.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, no further questions of staff. And again, this requires the actual landowner to petition to be included voluntarily.
Correct.
Thank you very much. And I will call the roll that has been moved and seconded. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Adjourned. And I will call this Board of County Commissioners meeting of Tuesday, December 5th back to order, and we are on item number 15.
Item number 15 is the executive session. 15A, pursuant to CRS 246402 4B and E, the County Attorney's Office is requesting an executive session regarding litigation filed by Taylor and Joshua Bishop in the 4th Judicial District Court of El Paso County, Colorado, case number 2023 CV 30487. The purposes of the executive session include 1, conference with the County Attorney's Office for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions related to a litigation matter, and 2, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators. Brian Schmid, Senior Assistant County Attorney, and Mary Geringer, Senior Assistant County Attorney.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf,
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. We are in executive session.